Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Jeff Parker here, and I haven't been able to sit down with you to say Happy New Year. So
Happy New Year to you too. Welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to see you. And you know, since I've been gone, there was an awful lot of things that have been happening with COVID here in the woods as well as across the country. So go ahead and tell us what's happening here.
Kind of unfortunate that we've seen the numbers just continue to spike, and that's throughout the state. And I heard this morning that they'd hit 7 million people with the COVID number, which is a million more than they just in the last 3 weeks. So it shows that the Omicron is spreading really fast.
It is.
Luckily, it's not causing as much damage in a sense that the COVID, the original COVID did, or the Delta variant. But as we'll see in some of these numbers now, the Orange County was closed on Monday, so these are numbers from last week. These are Friday numbers, basically. So you see a big number in 8,257. That's 1 day count, so that's pretty high. But what we're seeing is the big jump in hospitalizations and the ICU numbers. So just 5 days earlier, we were at 964 hospitalizations, and now we're up to 1,154. So it'll be interesting to see today's numbers that come out over the weekend.
Yeah, I had heard that when you look at those hospitalization numbers, also to keep in mind is how quickly people are getting out of the hospital. So I guess they're in maybe like a day or two, and then they're out. So not sure what the symptoms are that would provide them to go to the hospital.
Yeah, and I think they're worried, that there's the concern, so they're getting tested if they're testing positive, and then they're feeling that way.
Right.
But you're right, it's there's not as much of the critical stages, it seems like, based on what we're hearing. Although we do have 171 cases in ICU, so I don't want to...
Nobody wants to go to the hospital,
you don't
regardless,
want to go if
right?
you don't have to go.
Yeah.
But we are seeing that, and that was up from 140 just a few days earlier.
Right, so you are seeing an increase of people going in.
And that's happening everywhere, including the Laguna Woods. And in fact, I was in the Orange County Register that we had a big bump up. And it was like 600 a couple of weeks ago, and now it's all the way up to 781 cases. So that's a big jump for the Laguna Woods area.
Right.
That's not just the village, but our whole community out here. Thank goodness, the good number, I guess, in the sense of always wanting to watch fatalities has only gone up 1 in that same time period.
Right.
So again, more people getting it, it's impacting people. So again, wearing the mask, washing hands, doing all the social distancing you can, but this thing is spreading pretty rapidly throughout Orange County and throughout all of the states. So it's serious, and you don't, with the aging village that we have, we want to be real careful. And obviously people who've been vaccinated and have boosters, that helps them, But again, for those that aren't, it's very dangerous, and it's concerning that we see these numbers going up like that.
Yeah, and I think we had talked about this before, is in regards to influenza. Now, of course, we're in the crux of actually influenza season as well. However, we're not hearing about that nearly as much, but it is still there. So they still need to remember to get your influenza shot if you haven't already. But the most important thing is, I think what we've been talking about this entire time is exactly what we are supposed to do. Wash your hands, keep your distance. I mean, we've been doing this forever, right? So it's something you should always remember. So you can't say it enough, right?
And that's important. I mentioned to you earlier, I was out for a couple of days because I had cold, flu type thing. Got tested, was tested negative, so that's good.
Right.
But balancing and understanding that you can get colds still, and that you can face that. So
and some of the colds that, like you had mentioned, they are laying you up a little heavier than normal.
Because
some
you
people,
haven't had it.
it's because you haven't had it in a while, right? So even if you get a flu and you think it's possibly COVID, it might not be. Yet you are still laid up for a while.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah. All right. Well, food for thought on all of it.
Just to stay safe out there.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. What else do you have?
Well, I wanted to mention a couple of meetings, and you mentioned it too, that we're all virtual now because of the amount of the impact on our employees and the residents and everything. All of the meetings have gone virtual. But one of the meetings that got changed because of that is we have a transportation information meeting coming up Friday.
Right.
And this was a meeting that was going to be last Friday. But we wanted to move it so that we're going to be virtual, and it's going to be on TV6.
Yes.
So that's important, and it was originally going to be 11 o'clock. Now it's going to be at 9:30, and that's this coming Friday. So on TV6, everybody should watch and make sure you see this. If you can't get on the virtual, watch it on TV, because it's going to be a lot of good information about a program that we're taking a look at and seeing whether or not it's advantageous for us to work with AgeWell, which is a senior transportation company, and providing services here in the village versus us providing the services. And so it's really about teaming up with them, having the oversight that we want to have, but they may have an operational advantage to us because they have more access to buses and different programs. So we're looking at that. We're going to take a look at it. We want to describe it, how it's going to work, how there won't be any changes to our program. It's just a different operator. How that will save us some money. How it'll hopefully bring a better service level to the village. All of that in a discussion format. No decisions have been made yet. We really want the input from our riders. We want the input from the community on whether or not this makes sense for us to change. And if so, then we'll move forward. If not, then we'll take a step back and then regroup.
So basically, at this meeting, AgeWell is going to do like a presentation of what they can do to help us?
Yeah, our staff will be doing it, and AgeWell will be there on the virtual meeting with us. And again, it's really a collaboration that we've been putting together for quite a while to talk to them about their process, what's their background, where do they come from. They provide a lot of senior services around the county. And so we thought this might be a good opportunity to at least evaluate if that could be advantageous to the community.
Great. Oh, that's a really great idea. I mean, you know, we've talked to them all the time, and they always seem on the ball, like you mentioned, and just another caveat of what they do. So
it'd be nice.
That's great.
And so if you're on the virtual, you'll be able to obviously submit comments and questions after the presentation is being done. If you're watching on TV, then we'd want you to send an email in.
Email in while they are watching it virtually.
If they're watching on TV.
And then they'll call on you, kind of a thing.
If they're virtually on the Zoom, they can do the chat.
Yeah, and then if you're only watching it through the television, then send your email in prior to Friday.
Right.
Perfect.
Or if you're watching and you come up with a question, we'll answer them after they come
Oh, okay, good. So any way you look at it, just send it to that email. Okay, perfect. Good. And then I know there's something kind of exciting coming up. Everybody who doesn't need mulch.
Yeah, the community is very active, and we have a really, really large mulching operation as part of our landscape. We've done.
There's our mulcher right there. Look at that.
You got the tub grinder, as we call it. That tub grinder does a humongous amount of mulch on a daily basis, and from our clippings and our tree trimming and all of the operations that we do. And as we produce this mulch, we want to make it available to our community back. And I know a lot of our residents enjoy this. And we have 3 dates coming up in January, April, and August where we'll be distributing it. But our next one's coming up January 21st through the 24th. And that mulch will be available at clubhouses 3, 4, and 5. Excuse me. And you'll be able to go down there and pick up your mulch. Most of the people that do it already have been engaged. We'll keep refilling those areas up as people come and take that mulch away. But it's a great resource, especially if you have your own gardens and your own planting areas.
Absolutely.
And so we want to help out the community that way, and it helps us get rid of the mulch too, because we can't pile it up forever.
Yeah, well, it's a win-win all the way around. So perfect. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the information. Nice to see you, and we'll see you again next week.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you. All right, so remember, if you want some mulch, which, as we mentioned, we can all use mulch, call Resident Services to find out exactly what you need to do, and they'll have more information for you. All right, we will be right back with the Laguna Woods Library. Stay tuned.